Hello, I am Anna Curtis. I am the dyslexia specialist here with Hattiesburg Public School District. Today is our dyslexia tips and tidbits, and our topic is dyslexia screening. As we begin, we're going to go over our Hattiesburg mission and vision. Our mission is to educate all students to become productive citizens of a dynamic global community. Our vision is to be a model teaching and learning community that graduates productive and caring citizens who are prepared to succeed. Here at Hattiesburg School District, we have 4 goals: academic success, community support and engagement, safe and orderly schools, and fiscal accountability. We will now jump straight into dyslexia screening and what a dyslexia screener is. According to our Mississippi law and our policy, all students are required to be administered a dyslexia screener in the spring of kindergarten and the fall of first grade. The screener must be chosen from a state-approved list. Our law requires that all parents must be notified if their student fails the dyslexia screener. If a child does fail the dyslexia screener, it does not mean that a child has dyslexia. The screener is simply a tool or a snapshot to give the educator and the parents an idea if any characteristics or tendencies that are similar to dyslexia are prevalent in the child or in the student. All students are required to be administered a dyslexia screener. Notice all is bolded and underlined. This means that even if a child has an IEP or maybe even our English language learners, they are still required to be administered a dyslexia screener. Down below, you'll see that we have 2 deadlines that we are required to meet. Our fall first grade dyslexia screeners must be administered no later than October 23rd, 2020. Our spring kindergarten screeners are required to be administered no later than April 9th, 2021. Mississippi State Board of Education approved screeners must include 6 components. Those components consist of phonological and phonemic awareness, sound symbol recognition, alphabetic knowledge, rapid automatic naming, decoding, and encoding. Now we will briefly define each of these components, and then we will jump into what these components might look like on a dyslexia screener. So what is phonological awareness? Phonological awareness is a broad term that pertains to hearing and manipulating units of spoken language larger than a single phoneme. This could include words, syllables, and rhyming elements. What is phonemic awareness? Phonemic awareness refers to the ability to hear and manipulate individual phonemes or sounds in spoken language. So what is a phoneme? A phoneme is the smallest unit of sound in speech. For example, k in the word cat is a phoneme. You will notice the picture of the ear on this slide. That is intentional, because phonemic awareness is strictly auditory. It only has to do with hearing and listening individual sounds. It does not include any written language, which means reading is not involved when phonemic awareness is present. Often you will hear someone interchangeably use the terms phonological and phonemic awareness. These terms are not interchangeable. They are 2 different terms. As we just described, phonological awareness is the broad umbrella term. Phonemic awareness falls under that category. Phonological awareness refers to syllables, words. It is different parts, whereas phonemic awareness is much narrow. It is only dealing with the phonemes and the sounds. The third component that is required of a dyslexia screener in Mississippi is alphabetic knowledge. What is alphabetic knowledge? Well, it's exactly like it sounds. It is the knowledge of our alphabet. It is the ability to identify, name, and write letters. What is rapid automatic naming? Rapid automatic naming is the ability to accurately and automatically name a series of familiar items in a timely manner. These items may include letters, sounds, numbers, objects, or colors. Each screener may use a different item under rapid automatic naming. However, the goal is for the student to name the presented items as quickly and accurately as possible. So what is decoding? Decoding is simply reading. It's the ability to apply knowledge of letter sound correspondence to accurately pronounce written words. What is encoding? Well, encoding is simply spelling. It's the ability to transfer those spoken sounds or speech sounds into written symbols, what we call letters. So let's see how these components may be administered on the dyslexia screener. I've given you some examples under each component. The first component is alphabet knowledge. This may be tested just by asking the child to recite their alphabet. Another way to test under alphabet knowledge is by having the child name the letters presented to them. So the teacher may say, please point to each letter and tell me the name of that letter. The child would then read the letters by name. A, R, I, V, E, L, J, and so on and so forth. Sound symbol association is very similar. However, now they are asked to recite the sound, not the letter name. The teacher may say, now please point to each letter and tell me the sound the letter makes. The student is then asked to point and read the sound. B, E, K, P, W, K, I, and so on. Now, either one of these here, you notice that I use capital letters under alphabet knowledge and lowercase letters under sound symbol association. This may look different on each screener, but the directions will be very similar. Rapid automatic naming. The teacher may say, please tell me the name of these colors as fast as you can without skipping any. Ready? You may begin. The child will then be expected to say the colors: green, red, purple, orange, blue, yellow, red. We want them to name the item as quickly as possible, but it's also very important that they get them correct as well. The goal of this is word recognition. We want a student to be able to see something, or maybe see a letter or a word, and be able to name it quickly without hesitation. This builds up fluency, and that is a very important part of reading. Phonological and phonemic awareness. Now remember, phonological awareness can include sound identification and can include rhyming, syllable segmentation, and phonemic awareness is only identifying the sounds. One example of how this may be asked on the screener. The teacher says, sound out the word dog. The student will follow those instructions. D, A, G. How many sounds are in the word dog? The child will respond, 3. Another question may be, what is the first sound you hear in the word cat? K, k is the first sound in the word cat. What is the middle sound you hear in the word log? Log. Ah is the middle sound in the word ah. So being able to identify those initial, medial, and final sounds in a word. A teacher may ask, change the k sound in cap to t. What new word do you hear? The student would be expected to say tap. This is what we call sound manipulation, manipulating the sounds of a word to make different words. Sound deletion would look something like this. The teacher would say clap. Now say clap without saying ooh. What new word do you hear? The student would respond, cap. Clap without ooh is cap. Another example with a little bit larger word would be say airplane. Now say airplane without saying air. What new word do you have? Plane would be the answer. Now we're going into syllables and rhyming. So syllable segmentation, a question may look like this. How many syllables do you hear in the word computer? Computer. The child would then respond with 3. 3 syllables in the word computer. Rhyming identification, being able to tell if a set of words rhyme or does not rhyme. An example may look like this. Listen to the words cat, cap, bat. Which word does not rhyme? The student would respond cap. Cat and bat rhyme. Cap does not. Rhyming generating a rhyming word would look like this. Say a word that rhymes with dog. Frog. Frog rhymes with dog. So being able to retrieve a word that rhymes with the given one. Now let's move on to decoding. The instructions would simply be, please read the words the best that you can. They would be given a set of words or a list of words, and they would be expected to read those words accurately. Sometimes the students need to segment the word or sound it out. That is acceptable as long as they are able to blend it correctly. So even if a student says top, that would be counted correct. So they would read across the list. Top, jet, tack, chin, and so on. Another example may be asking the student to read nonsense words. This requires strong decoding skills because they've never heard these words. They're made up words. So they would read nuck, lie, bad, bez, golf, whip, twos, bow. Not all screeners look the same, but they would still be asked to do some sort of decoding. And spelling. This would simply look like a spelling test. The teacher would say, listen to the word I say, repeat it, then say the word as you write it. Spell jog, jog. The student would repeat it and then write it. It is important on this section that the students accurately form letters. So if a student writes a J backwards, it would be counted incorrect. Letter formation is very important in the spelling section. So what are some common questions and concerns? One question that I hear often is, if my student fails, does that mean he or she has dyslexia? Well, no. As we stated before, this does not mean that your student has dyslexia. Further testing and a formal evaluation administered by a psychometrist, speech-language pathologist, or psychologist is required before a ruling of dyslexia can be given. The screener simply gives an educator or a parent an idea of if any deficits are present that may be similar to dyslexia. It also helps us determine what support may need to be put into place for that student. Another question may be, if my student passes, does that mean he or she does not have dyslexia? No, there is a possibility that your student passes the dyslexia screener, but then you later find out that he or she does have dyslexia in fact. Why is that? It could be because that the screener was just not enough information to determine if any deficits are present. If my student fails, will he or she be rescreened? Well, as we know from the law, we know that if a student fails the dyslexia screener in kindergarten, he or she will be rescreened in the fall of first grade. What happens next if my student fails the screener? Your student may require additional instructional support and/or interventions. The teacher support team at your student's school could help determine the next steps. Another thing is you will be provided with at-home resources and support. We can help in the areas that a student may have failed or may be struggling in from the dyslexia screener results. Who can I contact if I have questions about dyslexia or the screener? You can contact me, the district's dyslexia specialist. And how do you contact me? My information is here at the bottom of the screen. My email address is anna.curtis@hattiesburgpsd.com. My office number is 601-583-0960. If you have any questions regarding the dyslexia screener, please don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to answer all questions that you may have. Thank you for joining in and listening. I look forward to next week's Dyslexia Tips and Tidbits.